Building a great course is awesome, but you gotta know how to launch it, especially the first time. And so much of how you launch a course has to do with your launch email sequence. And in this video, I'm gonna walk you through how to set one up on Kajabi and give you some things to think about for when you're making your first or next launch sequence. This is day 42 of Crush It on Kajabi in 90 days. We're doing 90 straight days of videos all about your online business and how to start it, build it, and grow it on what I think is the best online business platform there is, which is Kajabi. If you're thinking about joining Kajabi, you can use my link below, lanesebring.com/Kajabi. With that, you get 30 free days, a 30-day free trial. I'm also gonna give you my $25,000 course launch email template. These are the exact emails and the exact email strategy that I used to launch my first course, which made over $25,000 in its first 3 launches. I'm gonna put that in your hands for free. And also, you're gonna get a 45-minute Zoom call with me, one-on-one, where we can talk about your business, we can talk about Kajabi, talk about how to get the best possible start on that platform, and I'll make sure that you're set up and ready to go. All of that is a way to say thank you for using my link, which is an affiliate link. So when you use it, I do get a small commission, so I appreciate it very much. So if you're gonna jump onto Kajabi and you appreciate what we're doing on this channel, then you might as well use my link to do it. So the best way for me to walk you through how to do a good launch is to show you one of my launch sequences. Now, if you haven't watched through the last few of these days, you definitely need to do that because we talk all about Kajabi email, what a sequence is versus what a broadcast is, how to set up a sequence. We talked about how to do a welcome sequence, and now we're talking about how to do a launch sequence. Yesterday, we talked about how to do a pre-launch sequence. So there's all kinds of different sequences that you can set up, and today just happens to be when you launch. Now, what I have pulled up here was from a mini course that I launched over at Preaching Donkey, and it was called Preaching Jumpstart. And once the course came open, like once I had everything done, the course is built, the landing page for the sales page was built, the checkout pages, the offers, all of that stuff was made. We talked about all of that in previous days in the series. Once all of that was done, it was time to initiate this sequence. Now, you can see that it says 0 sent, and that is for a good reason. I actually pulled these emails out individually and sent them as a broadcast for this particular launch for 2 reasons. One, my list was growing pretty fast at that point, and I wanted to very carefully keep track of who was getting them and make sure that I was pushing everybody who was brand new through the sequence through it. And 2, I wanted to see how each individual email performed on its own so that I could later decide what stays in the launch sequence and what goes. So that's why there are zeros over here, but this is the content that I chose. So the very first email that came out was Preaching Jumpstart is open limited enrollment. So the reason why I come right out with this is to this point, I've done some pre-launch work. They know that something's coming. At this point, they know what it's called. They've gone through the pre-launch material, or at least the people who have, they're fired up and primed and ready for this announcement. The people who didn't go through the pre-launch material, they still got the emails about it, so maybe they've seen it, that kind of thing. Today, I'm opening the doors to my Preaching Jumpstart, a complete simplified process for writing and delivering life-changing sermons, $30 off during this launch using promo code Jumpstart30. So this is where I incentivized buying right now. There's limited enrollment because it's going to close, and it did. It's going to close, and because it's going to close, I want you to know that you can jump in right now for $30 off if you jump in during this promotion. So in here, I pull some things directly from the sales page. And this is an easy way to do launch emails. As you spend all this time putting together sales copy on your sales page, you might as well borrow that same language for the emails and direct everything to the sales page. So this button right here, this button, and I think if you click on this, all of those take you to the sales page. So that's day 0, meaning that as soon as I turn this sequence on, it's the first thing that goes out, and it goes out right away to my entire list. The second one is writing a sermon doesn't have to be painful. So this is a value add. It's a little bit of a hook, right? Writing a sermon doesn't have to be painful. And then there is a email here that is about, no matter how skilled you are, writing a sermon is tough work, but it doesn't have to be painful. I'm here to help. I've got this course, Preaching Jumpstart, $30 off. Get the scoop. You get the idea there. Now, I want to mention, because I was sending these out as individual emails, I was making sure to filter the audience so that anybody who had already bought the course didn't get an email. Once they bought, they're already subscribed to that welcome sequence for that course, and I don't want them to continue to be marketed to on a course they've already bought. How to preach with unmistakable clarity, that's very similar to this. It's just a different angle, right? So this is hitting a pain point. This is hitting a desire. A few days ago in our series, I talked about people that want to escape from something and want to arrive to something else. What are they wanting to escape from, and what are they hoping to arrive to? And in this case, I'm wanting them to escape the pain of writing a sermon in a way that, if you've never done it before, it's a painstaking, arduous, vexing task, or at least it can be. So I'm hitting that pain point. But then here, I'm hitting a desire, and that's to preach with unmistakable clarity, which is what any good communicator wants to do. So I took you to the actual emails that went out, so you could say this was our first one. Writing a sermon doesn't have to be painful. How to preach with unmistakable clarity. The secret to powerful preaching, this was the next one that I gave, and it was a way to, again, hit on a desire to preach in a powerful way. In the middle of this, I had a podcast episode, and then it was the last day where I gave an 18 hours left. Preaching Jumpstart closes at midnight, then a courtesy reminder about 5 o'clock that afternoon, and then a final last chance, it's closing at midnight email. And again, this launch sequence was what happened on launch week, and it is what drove a lot of sales in 1 week. And there's nothing necessarily special about what I'm doing here, but there are a few things that are very intentional. One, it's a relatively quick launch. This was a 5-day launch. I didn't feel the need with a mini course to go 7 or 8 or 10 days. I went 5 days of hitting it really hard, making sure that I'd given them every opportunity to respond, every opportunity to decide if it's right for them as possible. The second thing is I incentivized moving on it this week. You get $30 off. That's as discounted as it's ever going to be. It's only open for 5 days. Those two things, the price is going to go up and it's going to close for a few months. Those two things are scarcity, and scarcity drives decisions. It either drives a decision to not or a decision to. So using scarcity can be really, really helpful. The next thing you'll see, and I've already hit on this quite a bit, but I'm hitting pain points and I'm hitting desires. And in all of that, each one of those emails was not just a buy my course, buy my course, buy my course, but it was hitting on pain points and hitting on desires, and always trying to add value or to teach or to give another way of thinking about something, with the end result being click on this link, go to this solution, and see if this product is the solution to this problem that I've articulated for you. Now, when it comes to launch sequences and it comes to launch weeks, this only works when you have built credibility with your audience. When you have know, like, and trust. They know you, they like you, and they trust you. I don't do a launch sequence like this every week. I don't even do it every month. I do it when I launch a course. I do it like 6 months later when I reopen it. And then I typically will put that course into an evergreen sequence. And the only time I present it to my list is if I want to promote it for a discount or bundle it with something else. So most of the time, the vast majority of the time, when my audience is hearing from me, they are getting value. I'm saying, hey, I've got this awesome new podcast episode. I got this new YouTube video. I have this new resource for you, and all of it's free. Nothing is asking for anything in return. And then every now and then, I put them through a launch sequence. And it works because I have trust with my audience. So that's why it's so important as you're building your mini course on Kajabi, and as you're building the sales pages and the checkout pages and setting up your offers, and you're building the launch sequence, never stop making content, at least one piece of content a week, so that when you show up and offer people to buy your course, it's not coming out of nowhere. It's coming from a person that they know, like, and trust because you have shown up week after week after week, asking nothing in return and providing lots of value. That's the name of the game, and it's how it's done. And if you do it that way, you're going to see continued success and growth. All right, so at this point, you can go ahead and jump on Kajabi using my link below. Go ahead and get that 30-day free trial. Be sure to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any of the future videos in this series. And let me know in the comments what questions you have about Kajabi, about online business, or anything you would like me to cover in this series, and I'll be sure to address it in future videos. At this point, if you have more questions about Kajabi, you can click on this playlist right here, where I'll be right inside. I'm in that playlist. So if you click on that playlist, I'll be in there and we'll talk more about Kajabi right there. So click right there and I'll see you in that playlist.